Hey everybody, and Tony here with a review of The Adventures of Prince Achmed, which was shown last night at the Kino Babylon and was directed by Lotte Reiniger with the cinematography by Karl Koch, and this was made back in 1926 in Weimar Republic, Germany. Now, before Steamboat Willie and Snow White and the Seven Dwarves became the first animated features, there came this film. Now, this was made 2 years before Disney's Steamboat Willie and 11 years before Snow White of the Seven Dwarves. Now, this film was quite groundbreaking for its time because this was one of the first films to be ever directed by a woman. And of course, there has been no shortage of female directors, but Lotte Reiniger was pretty much the first one, and then Leni Riefenstahl, who directed Tiefland and The Triumph of the Will, was also groundbreaking for being another female director who also broke new ground. And these days, there have been a lot of female directors and female filmmakers who have found themselves in a very strong position, all thanks to Lotte Reiniger, who was pretty much one of the first ones. Not to mention, another thing that really made this film groundbreaking at the time was that it used silhouettes, specifically shadow puppets, as in they would cut out different figures from black paper and they would place them on a certain background from different colors, and, well, that's how it pretty much came to be. And, well, it really cemented itself in the history of animated features, thus being the first one that was really groundbreaking and really much something that is considered a very rare art these days. Nowadays, animated features are usually done not only in 2D, but most of the time in computer generated and stop motion. These days, it would be kind of rare to see something done in silhouette, unless if it were for a musical sequence or a dance sequence. For a full film, it would probably be rare these days. So let's get on to the review of what I thought about the story, the animation, the characters, and also the music. Now, let's start off with the story. Now, this story was based off of the 1001 Arabian Nights, such as the tale of Prince Achmed and also Aladdin and the magical lamp. So it basically starts off with the evil African magician conjuring up a magical horse, and then we see Prince Achmed and his sister, Princess, let's see her name here, Princess Dinarsade, alongside their father, the Caliph. Now, the magician comes over and introduces the horse. He doesn't want any of the gold, he just wants all of the treasures. He presents the horse to Prince Achmed, but Prince Achmed doesn't really know how to control the horse, and then off he goes on a merry journey, while the magician is placed under arrest. So he goes into really strange and really fun journeys, meeting a lot of young women who have the hots for him, and even the very beautiful Princess Paribanu, who he falls in love with and pretty much kidnaps her, but then she puts all of her trust in him and he puts all of his trust in her. They fall in love. It's kind of a crazy love story that these two get themselves into. But it's easy to say that the story is your pretty typical story that you can expect from fairy tales, filled to the brim with princes, princesses, evil wizards, and in this version you have a good witch, who, though looks kind of grotesque, is very much helpful to the main hero on his journey, and even to the supporting hero, Aladdin. So you also get two love stories found in Dinarsade and Aladdin, and even the Paribanu and Prince Ahmed. So I really found the story, even though it has the typical fairy tale fare of the prince rescuing the princess and going through a lot of weird and wonderful journeys. It also has a lot of great character dynamics. However, I have to wonder that if Aladdin stated that Princess Dinarsade was also married to him at one point, then why wasn't Princess Dinarsade so concerned about where her husband was? Because at this point, well, it kind of was a little bit of a head scratcher for me, but I'm willing to overlook that because at least the story was still well done. Even though it did have a little bit of some plot holes here and there, it didn't matter. The story was still well done, and I still managed to get myself into it. It was filled to the brim with excitement, and this was also one of the founding fathers for a lot of animated features based on fairy tales, which I really had to say that this one, though its story was simple, it managed to really captivate me. And now we get to the animation. Now, this is the part that I'm also very excited to talk about because the animation for this film, like I said, basically uses like black paper cutouts, but still, they come out very well done, very refined, and very well detailed. Especially all the movements and transformations, which I thought were just so well done. You could really tell that the animation definitely took its cues from the shadow puppet theaters in a lot of Eastern countries, and they implicate it right here in this feature film. So you could really tell that Miss Reiniger and her crew really did some good research in order to really make this film come alive. And, like I said, it's just totally well done in terms of the animation, and surprisingly, it still holds up to this very day. And then we get to the music. Now, for the music, we have the organist by the name of Anna Vavilkina, who is a Russian organist who is very well known in Germany, specifically here in Berlin, and has been playing in the Kino Babylon for quite some time as well, like for a total of 10 years. I thought she was able to really handle the music very well given her experience, and I thought that she was able to really give us such a wonderful time. Not to mention, there were some instances in which well-known pieces, whether it be classical or whether it be from operas, have been used. Like, for example, when the magician escapes from his prison cell, when he turns into a bat, we hear a snippet of the Die Fledermaus overture being played. And then when it came to the triumphal scene, or the march, we hear a snippet of the triumphal march from Aida, and many, many other pieces of classical music, or opera, or operetta. So I thought that the music is very much well done, all thanks to Miss Anna Vavilkina. And now let's get to the characters. So let's start off with our main hero, Prince Achmed. Now, Prince Achmed is pretty much your typical hero who has a noble heart and who has a very noble being, and he pretty much sparks nobility. He's someone who is selfless and someone who is pretty much your standard hero. Of course, when he sees the magical horse, he wasn't so sure of how to control it. But through luck, he managed to realize that the only way to get the horse down was to pull its tail, and then he can go down. Thus, he finds himself in a lot of adventures, and, well, his character, I have to say, was actually very enjoyable for the most part. And then we get to the other hero, Aladdin. Now, he doesn't appear until, before the climax. Now, with Aladdin's backstory, it is kind of pitiful to see him in that position that his lamp ended up being taken away from him, as it was pretty much his life source as well. Not to mention the fact that his wife, Princess Dinarsade, was taken away, all thanks to the evil magician, I thought was pretty, well, sad in its own way. And he's still a very fun character as well to watch as well. I mean, his chemistry with Prince Achmed was absolutely believable, even though he was only before the climax. But still, he was a very great character in his own. He held his own, and I thought he was just a lot of fun. And then we get to the evil magician. Now, this is a character that pretty much stole the show for me. Now, he is pretty much someone who loves to cause a lot of strife and mischief to a lot of the heroes, and, well, he's pretty much someone who can be quite entertaining in his own way, because if you think about it, the magician is also the precursor to Jafar from Aladdin, and even to a lot of the animated villains. And with the magician, of course, his characterization is quite simple. He's nasty, he causes a lot of strife for the main characters, and he's all-powerful. And then we get to the witch. Now, I thought that the witch would end up being another antagonist, but I also found out that, she is pretty much like a mentor figure to Prince Ahmed when they first meet each other. She states that the magician is her worst enemy of all time, and that it's also her duty to also defeat him. And her fight scene with the magician I thought was really well done, transforming into different creatures before she gets the upper hand. I thought it was just very well done. Then we get to Princess Dinarsada. Now, she doesn't really have a lot to do in the film, and, well, her characterization is also quite simple as well. She is the prince's sister, who is quite sad that her own brother is taken away from her, and is also quite sad that the man that she has married, Aladdin, has also been taken away from her. So she hopes and longs to have them back. And also with Princess Paribanu, I thought she was also a very well done character as well. She's not the deepest character in this movie, nor is she any bad at all. She's just okay, really. She's also the precursor to a lot of the Disney princesses that we get to know and like, and also have that type of archetype as well. Someone who falls in love in first sight, and someone who was quite enamored to this prince that, funnily enough, has also stole her coat of feathers and has pretty much told her to swear loyalty to him, which I thought was kind of weird in the first place. But throughout the film, I thought their chemistry was really strong. Not to mention Prince Ahmed's chemistry with Princess Paribanu, and also that of Aladdin's chemistry with Princess Dinarsada, I thought was just very well done. The Emperor is a minor antagonist because when Princess Paribanu refuses to marry him, he decides that he can't take it anymore. He has to give that position to one of his lackeys to marry off the princess. So overall, the characters, while they're quite simple, and while they have their own archetypes to handle, and even though they fit into different archetypes, I thought were just well done in their own special way. So overall, this film was quite groundbreaking for its time. And I have to say that I probably wish I could have grown up with this film. I really wish that this film could have been my childhood film, because, of course, it's no surprise that just like any other kid back in the 90s, I was raised on Disney films like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and many, many others. And if I probably would have been brought up with this film as a kid, I probably would have been more fascinated by the world of animation in general. So, with that said, I give The Adventures of Prince Ahmed a well-deserved 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is very much a landmark film that you have to see for yourself. And if you're interested in animation, or if you really want to give your kids something to look back on in the world of animation, then I highly suggest that you recommend this film to them. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in later where I review Caro Diario, which was an Italian film made in the 90s. So until then, see you later, everybody.